Marketing ROI. As marketers, we should have a pretty good idea of what this means. But what does it mean to a local business? We'll get into it in about 30 seconds.
Welcome to Corey's Local Marketing Minute, an enlightening and entertaining look at what's happening in local marketing. Corey's Minute is brought to you by Advertisers. Why should you be working with Advertisers? Here's CEO Brock Berry.
Hi, my name's Brock Berry, CEO and co-founder at Advertisers. Advertisers' total digital agency software solution, UI.marketing, is being leveraged by over 300 local media companies and ad agencies in 5 countries. We're proud that our team has landed on this year's Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing private companies for the 5th year in a row. If you're already partnering with Advertisers, thank you. If not, reach out to us so we can get a conversation started today.
Learn more at adcellerant.com or book a demo by emailing info@adcellerant.com. And now, the shaman of local marketing, Corey Elliott.
Greetings all! Hope you're having a wonderful, is it November? November. Today we're going to be talking about ROI. Before we do, remember to subscribe and hit like and ask us questions. It's how I personally derive ROI. This is going to be a 2-part series because we did this survey around ROI with our SMB panel, and the volume of data we got back, I can't possibly fit it into one episode. So it's a mini series. Buckle up. Okay, before we even get into marketing ROI, we thought it was important to establish what their thoughts were around how much they're spending on advertising. Too much, not enough, just right. So we asked, do you know what percent said they were overspending? 12%. How about underspending? 46%. And the percentage that said they were spending the appropriate amount? 36%. There's 82% of local businesses saying they're either spending an appropriate amount or they're underspending on advertising. So forget about these guys for a second. We did ask these guys, why did they think they were spending the appropriate amount? 47% of them said their business growth was on track. And we asked these guys, how do you know you're underspending? And 62% of them said company opts for below benchmark spending. So that means they have some kind of gauge, and they just think their company doesn't spend enough. All coming back to ROI, right? And that's what we asked next. Do you have an ROI process? Okay, ROI process. Yes, no, or beats me. I'll give you a clue. Beats me came in at 15%. So what about these other two? 41% yes, 43% no. Pretty evenly split. And I'm throwing these guys away. Now things get interesting. Because remember that question about overspending or underspending? What do you think it looks like in these two groups? So here are the two groups, no and yes. What percentage of no's, I don't have an ROI process, said they were spending the appropriate amount of money? 33%. What about the yeses? 42%. A lot more confidence over here, right? But check this out. What percentages of no's said they were underspending? 43%. And what about the yeses? I have an ROI process. Am I underspending? 49% said, yeah, I'm underspending. Therefore, whatever their ROI process is telling them, they're underspending. Interesting. Let's look at other fun differences between these two groups. So first of all, we asked everybody, would you say your company relies more on gut or on data when determining if a campaign worked? 57% of them said gut, 38% said data. Over half said gut. Okie doke. But when you divide it between ROI havers, users, peeps, and non-ROI peeps, shakes out a little different. So for those who have no ROI process, 72% of them said they relied on gut, only 22% relied on data. But the ROI peeps, 35% on gut, 62% on data. Still 35% on gut. So let's talk a little bit about the media these guys use. Again, we're dividing them into two groups. Businesses that have a marketing ROI process and ones that do not. And why am I holding my head like this? I don't know. Let's start with the type of marketing that was mentioned the most. Events. 82% of the ROI peeps invested in events, 66% of the non-ROI. With direct mail, 75% of the ROI group used direct mail, 53% of the non-ROI group used direct mail. Okay, here's some other ones. Paid social media, 78% here, 67% here. SEM, 69% for ROI, 49% for non-ROI. And streaming video, 34%, and exactly half of that, 17% for non-ROI businesses. Generally speaking, those businesses that have a marketing ROI use more media than those that don't. So why these? We asked a follow-up question around ROI. Based on your experience, which of the following media do you think provides the most accurate and easiest to understand metrics and stats? We asked them about accuracy and we asked them about ease. The same 4 media were at the top of both those lists. And they're here. They are SEM, paid social media, direct mail, and streaming video. Bet you'll wonder why I kept that on the list. Those were the 4 media that local businesses said were the most accurate with their metrics and were the easiest to understand. So obviously these businesses chose to spend in this kind of media. But why? What were they looking for? What's the most important thing to them? Because that can lead into measurement of effectiveness, otherwise known as ROI. So we asked, when your company chooses where to spend its advertising dollars, which of the following are most important? I'm going to give you the top 3. Okay, 3 things popped up on nearly everybody's list. Ability to target, ROI proof, and reach. These numbers refer to how many businesses put these things in their top 3 considerations. But what about the most important consideration? But once again, there was a difference between non-ROI peeps and ROI peeps. Let me show you what I mean. We'll start with reach. 21% of non-ROI businesses said reach is the number 1 consideration. 18% of ROI people said reach was number 1. Let's jump up to ability to target. 36% of the non-ROI group said ability to target was number 1 consideration. 28% of the ROI group, which leaves being able to prove ROI. Is that a number 1 factor? Well, 20% of the non-ROI group said it was. 34% of the ROI group said it was, which makes it the number 1 consideration for the ROI group. You can actually prove there's a return on my marketing investment. But what is that proof? And this is the final stat for this video. Prepare yourself. Okay, these are the top 4 metrics that came out when they're trying to measure the success of a marketing campaign. Let's start with leads or new customers. 63% of non-ROI peeps, so this is how they would measure the success of a marketing campaign. They don't have an ROI process, don't know how they're going to do that, but hey, that's what they said. 75% of the ROI people said leads or new customers. Now, that was the number 1 answer for non-ROI people. Sales volume. 51% of non-ROI people said sales volume. Meanwhile, 80% of ROI people did. And that was number 1 for them. These other 2 had interesting disparities. 48%, 57% for visits to a website. So more ROI people looked at this, but more non-ROI people looked at engagement factors than the ROI people. So this begins to give you a clue of how local businesses are framing marketing ROI. If they have an ROI process, they rely on it. They like the data, though still some rely on gut. And it seems they tend to engage with media that they feel is easy and clear to track, which brings us to a question of what could a media company or an agency provide a local business in terms of ROI measurement, knowing that it's probably going to be about sales volume or possibly new customers. Well, you'll just have to hang out for part 2 of ROI.
You've been watching Corey's Local Marketing Minute, sponsored by our friends at Adcellerant. Learn more at adcellerant.com. Remember, if you'd like to hear more of Corey's insights, check out the Local Marketing Trends podcast. Just Google Burrell Podcast or look for the podcast link on burrellassociates.com.